Hello everyone, welcome back to Animals with Nianne. Today we're talking about the nurse shark, or the scientific name Ginglymostoma. I hope I pronounced that correctly, probably not. Anyways, despite what you might think of sharks, this nurse shark is actually super chill. But more about that later on. Before we start, I would just like to say that there are different types of species when it comes to nurse sharks. But to keep it simple and not too long, I'll just stick to the general nurse shark, I guess. But you have the Atlantic nurse shark, the Pacific nurse shark, the short-tailed nurse shark, and the tawny nurse shark. But we're not going into the specifics today. We're just gonna keep it nice, short, plain, easy, whatever. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the nurse shark doesn't look like your typical Hollywood movie kind of shark, like the ones you see in Jaws. Nurse sharks are pretty cute, honestly. They have a very round, stocky body and their movements are very slow as well. And instead of sharp teeth, they have rounded, smaller teeth, which are perfect for grabbing things and not slicing through things. The whole body is built for life on the seafloor. Its mouth is tucked on the underside of their body, which is perfect for vacuuming things up. And by vacuum, I mean literally vacuum. They have a very powerful suction that they use to pull prey right into their mouth. And this suction is actually so strong that it can leave a dent in clam shells. Now the interesting thing is that unlike other sharks, they don't have to keep swimming to keep breathing. Nurse sharks can pump air over the body to the gills. This means they can just lie somewhere, take a nap and not suffocate. Good for them! Their fins are also round and gentle looking, and their tail takes up more than a quarter of their total body length, which is 2.4 meters long. Under its snout it has these whisker-like things, which are called barbels, and these barbels are sensory tools. The barbels help them to locate where their prey is hidden in sand. Let's dive deeper. If you want to find a nurse shark, you'll have to look for warm, shallow waters, and we're talking about crystal clear lagoons, mangrove forests, seagrass beds, especially when they're young, and even shipwrecks. They're bottom dwellers through and through. They usually stay in waters in less than 17 meters deep, but they have also been recorded to be at 130 meters deep. Most nurse sharks live in the Atlantic Ocean, especially around the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Some even hang out as far as Brazil, but it really depends on the species where they are, because some species also live in the Eastern Pacific or in the Indo-Pacific regions. During the day, nurse sharks are mostly inactive. They will lie motionless on the seabed, or they will be tucked into reef crevices, often alone, but sometimes in coastal piles of 40 individuals. Scientists think that they may return every day to the same exact location to take a nap. And some studies even suggest that they form loose social bonds and might have preferred partners to rest with. Who knows, sharks could be so cuddly. But besides that, they're pretty much individual. They're quite solitary. When the sun goes down, they become active but slow hunters, gliding just above the sand and sensing movement with their barbels. Unlike faster sharks that chase their prey, nurse sharks are more slow and deliberate, and they really depend on their stealth. They're nocturnal ambush hunters, using powerful suction to pull out their prey from hidden in the sand. And despite the stereotype of sharks, nurse sharks are very calm. They're not aggressive unless provoked. Most incidents only happen when people will corner the nurse sharks or try to touch them. Nurse sharks are more likely to swim away from you than chase you or attack you. When you bump into them, you don't have to be worried, just keep your distance, be respectful, be mindful, and just let them be. Mating amongst nurse sharks can be quite intense. Like many shark species, they don't have hands. Instead of using hands, they will use their teeth to grip onto the females. Yes, you heard that right. They use their teeth to grab the female. They will bite the female. Usually they will bite her on her pectoral fin or on the side to hold her in place while he lines their bodies. The male will then use one of his claspers. Those are modified pelvic fins to transfer sperm into the female. It may look rough, but female sharks have developed a thicker skin to protect themselves. Nurse sharks return to the same shallow spots to mate year after year. After mating, the female will store the sperm until she's ready to ovulate, and both sharks sharks part their ways after mating and just kind of do their own thing until the next mating season. They don't really have a fixed, strict mating season. Usually it happens during the warmer summer months, but again, this like really depends on where in the world they are. And even though they always return to the same spot year after year, there is no scientific evidence that they have the same mate as well. Now let's talk about baby nurse shark. Nurse sharks don't like eggs like other sharks might do. Instead, they give birth to live young. But here's where it gets interesting. They use something called, let me read it, I have to look at it because otherwise I'm not going to pronounce it right. I mean, even if I read it, I will probably still not pronounce it right. But it's called ovovivipar- Parity. Ovoviviparity. There you go. I don't know. Anyways, this means that the embryos develop in eggs, and those eggs stay inside of the mother's body until they're ready to hatch. After a pregnancy from around 5 to 6 months, the mother gives birth to around 20 to 30 pups. Nurse shark pups are already born around 27 to 30 centimeters long. At birth, they're fully formed and completely independent. They're ready to hunt, to hide, to grow up even more, but it will still take years before they're ready to have their own children. Nurse sharks reach sexual maturity when they're around 2 to 2.5 meters long, which can take up 15 to 20 years. It's a slow process, and that makes them vulnerable. Nurse sharks are opportunistic feeders. They'll pretty much eat anything they can find. Yeah, they're not picky eaters at all. They'll hunt whatever they can find, and they have some pretty unique skills to catch their prey as well. As I've mentioned before, they have these barbels, those sensory tools to find hidden prey, and they use a suction vacuum system to vacuum prey right into the mouth. These sharks have a diverse diet. They'll eat everything like small fish, crustaceans like lobsters and crabs, to even mollusks like conch, and they'll even snack on an occasional sea urchin if they can find one. When it comes to feeding, they're very efficient. They know exactly where to look for their food, and they don't mind getting their teeth a little bit dirty to pull food from a tight spot. Even though they're not the fastest swimmers, they're very patient. They'll spend hours searching the reef, carefully scouring every corner for a meal. So according to the IUCN, the conservation status of nurse sharks varies by species. The Atlantic nurse shark is listed as vulnerable. The Pacific nurse shark is endangered. The short-tailed nurse shark is critically endangered. And the tawny nurse shark is also vulnerable. Unfortunately, like many shark species, nurse sharks also face their fair share of threats in the wild. Even though they aren't as endangered as some other sharks, their future is still at risk. One of the biggest threats to nurse sharks is overfishing. They're often caught unintentionally as bycatch, and in some regions they're even targeted for the meat, fins and liver oil. While most of the times nurse sharks aren't the main target, they're vulnerable to fishing practices like netting, long lines that can trap them, and on top of that, habitat destruction from coastal development and climate change is also a big threat to the existence of nurse sharks. Climate change is especially dangerous as it disrupts the fragile ecosystems where the nurse sharks live and feed and breed and whatever. And those ecosystems are, for example, the mangrove forest or coral reefs. And because it takes a long time for a nurse sharks to be able to reproduce, they're especially vulnerable for population decline. When their numbers drop, it's harder for them to bounce back. Sadly enough, nurse sharks are also hunted for their teeth and skin, which are used for jewelry or other products. But despite these threats, there's still hope. Thanks to marine protected areas, sustainable fishing practices, and increased global awareness, conservation efforts are making a change. The more we learn about these incredible creatures, the more we can do for them. Luckily, there are a few organizations that help and protect the nurse sharks. Organizations like Shark Trust, Ocean Conservancy, and Wildlife Conservation Society are fighting for shark protection. They work to protect shark habitats, advocacy for sustainable fishing practices, and they push for stronger laws to safeguard these amazing animals. And you can help too, whether it's by supporting these organizations or spreading awareness about the importance of sharks in their ecosystem or making sustainable choices in your everyday life. Every action counts. And that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of nurse sharks. I hope you learned something new and are fascinated by these amazing animals just as much as I am. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay updated on every video that I post. If you have any questions or just want to share something, please comment down below. I love to read your comments and I really like interacting with you guys. If you know someone who's curious about sharks, feel free to share this video with them. The more we spread the word, the better we can protect the sharks. As usual, I'll put the organizations and the sources that I use for this video down below as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you next time. Take care.